This week on Wine Women Life.
We care about men and we want them to be able to have that safe space with us so that they can go to us and talk about whatever it is they need to talk about.
I'm telling you, you know what? I'm wrong. I'm wrong. I apologize. I thought about what I said. That accountability that creates a safe space.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Wine Women Life. I'm your co-host Christina.
I'm Ariel.
Today we are going to talk about how to create a safe space for men. This is an important topic because I've heard men talk about women not being able to create a safe space for them. They don't feel comfortable enough in approaching women. So let's get into it. We can start off with our favorite question, why this topic is so important.
So I would say this topic is important because it's important to men. It's important that they have someone that they feel they could be vulnerable with. Mm-hmm. It's important that they feel that they can share personal things with and not get the backlash. I think it's important just so they can have an outlet, a safe space without judgment and not being, it's a beautiful thing to be able to share your deepest secrets with someone and know that it's safe. You're not going to go tell anyone or use it against them.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I mentioned earlier, a lot of men, they don't feel like they can go to us as women and talk about things. And society has it all set up where, men are not encouraged to talk anyway about what's going on inside of them. So this is definitely an important subject because we care about men and we want them to be able to have that safe space with us so that they can go to us and talk about whatever it is they need to talk about. You mentioned to me about communication. So let's go into detail with that in regards to creating a safe space for men. How is communication so important in that situation, I should say?
I would say communication is important because, as we know, we all talk about the opposite sex and they're crazy, when we're speaking on each other. And a lot of men be like, I just don't understand her. And we say the same thing about men. I just don't understand him. Mm-hmm. So communication is key in any relationship already, right? So also with that, I would say that a lot of times we need to communicate correctly. Mm. Like I've heard from different guys, it's not what you say. Yeah. It's my deliverance. Mm. So with communication, I also have to make sure I'm delivering it in the right time. I'm delivering it in a space where I'm not angry, I'm not screaming, I'm not yelling, I'm not sometimes not even emotional, because sometimes when I can be emotional myself, I know I'm already very passionate, but that emotion can come off and be taken differently. So communication is just important as in general, because if I can't communicate and we don't understand each other, we won't reach a common ground. So I think just to create, a safe space, if we're having a problem, communication is key to working out that problem, to seeing things through, to knowing and dedicating our future to something positive, or knowing that we're going forward in a positive space. So communication is everything.
Absolutely. Yeah. A couple cannot function properly in a relationship without good communication. And if there is no good communication, in my opinion, it's almost like it's a threat to the man and the woman. And in this instance, we're talking about, the man. It's like it's a threat to him. And he will start to close up and go in a shell. and not come out sometimes. I know I've been guilty of not delivering properly. I have been told in the past that my words did not come out right. And a lot of it had to do with emotions. Like I was feeling a certain type of way about something and I did not like it. So, and then I said it right then and there, you know, while I was feeling all these emotions. And naturally, it's not going to come out right. And then once I say it, you know, that person is starting to shut down on me. And it's like, it just does not help, because whenever a man is feeling some type of way, he's not going to want to come to me and say anything because of how I'm acting, you know, in the initial stages of communication. So, yeah, I do believe that women have to create peace. And when you create that peaceful environment, people feel more comfortable. And that's with anything. Like, I think if women start to kind of step outside of a relationship and think about just life in general, when you create something that's very peaceful, people are more apt to come to you and confide in you. And I think when we think about the bigger picture, it helps us within our own relationships.
Oh yeah. Just like when raising children. Children react more when you're emotional. They react differently when you're angry. But I found myself a lot of times when I want to be like, bleep, 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 bleep. I would, pull back in, and I will approach the situation calmly at a softer tone, and I get a different reaction from my children.
Yep.
Like, I don't always have to go off the handle. And men are the same way. I think if we look at the situation and kind of just going outside, looking in, and especially if we know the type of person that we're with, and we know that when I'm up here, they'll go up here, and, the outcome is usually not good.
Yeah.
Well, we're both up here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I myself find it frustrating as heck, though, because I know I was telling someone before, I'm like, I just feel like I'm tired of taking the high road. I want to be petty because I feel like the person that, I was with at the time, like, I'm like, it's not fair because I'm always the person taking the high road. I'm always the person trying to fix how I say things or hold my tongue when I want to say this, that, and the other. And it's not fair. Like,
yeah.
But it depends on if they're worth it, or, who you're with, and that person. Communication is key. Like, I know I can't come at you head on as a raging bull.
Yeah.
Or I know that sometimes some men don't like docile women. I can't come at you like, oh, well, babe, and get my point across. I will have to be like, okay, look, listen, for him to be like, oh, she's. I guess when we know the men that we're with, we know how to speak to them.
Yeah, I guess so. That's an interesting point.
Yeah, because some people, people react differently, just like a child. You can have one child that as soon as you yell, they're like bursting out in tears, like, and some kids, and they only react differently when you're like, okay, well, we're going to do things. And they'll be like, okay, Wow. Other kids, they won't hear that nice tone. Well, honey, they won't get it unless you're like, hey, come here. And then they'll be like, ma'am.
See, that's an interesting point. And see, I don't have kids, so it's hard for me to say.
Yeah, but men are the same way.
You said what?
I think men are the same way. I think people are like that in general. Like, you have to approach someone with a different tone or a different communication style for them to get what you're saying.
Huh.
Okay. Don't agree?
I don't know if I completely agree with that. I get what you're saying, though. Like, I totally get what you're saying. I don't know. I guess because I was always taught that you should always approach people with kindness. Like, okay, so one thing Coach Ken told me, he said, you can put your foot down with the person and be adamant about something that you're feeling without being the mean girl. Like, there's a way to talk to people. So that's why I'm like, I don't know if I 100% agree with it, because I think I've done all of it. I've been the woman who was like, and then I've been the woman who was just like, And I've gotten better responses when I was like, versus, I never got good responses from that. And I remember once this one guy, this was some years ago, this one guy I dated, and he asked me something about, well, when are we going to be in a relationship or something like that? And I wasn't ready for it, because I'm like, we haven't even got to know each other yet, well enough. So in my mind, I'm like, what in the world is he talking? But I said it real nicely. And he came back, he said, wow, I like the way you told me that. So I don't know if I 100% agree. But
I don't know, because I'm telling you, some people would not really take you seriously until you get that sternness, until you get a little bit of mean girl, until they'll really feel you, because they're like, you know what, she's serious. But I think it depends on the person.
But I feel like you can still be stern and not be the mean girl.
I agree with some individuals. I don't think it comes across everybody. I'm gonna have to agree to disagree.
Really?
Everybody's not the same. Everybody's not the same.
I guess I got to sit back and think about some more experiences later.
Yeah, and I mean, I think it's just the person that you're with, the person that you would have to be with to know how to approach that person.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Like, they don't do that for you, cuss.
Well, yeah,
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that you might have to use a sterner tone, or, be a little more passionate for them to really be like, okay, she's serious.
And see, I believe you say passionate and I say just be serious. So that's where we kind of disagree a little bit, because I feel like you can be serious and not be passionate. Like, you can take that tone out. The whole eye roll. Listen, okay. I feel like you can kind of pull back a little bit, but I get what you're saying, though. Yeah. I get what you're saying. Why do you think women find it so hard, us as women find it so hard to create these safe spaces for men? Because we do find it hard.
I think it's hard because it's hard for us to be vulnerable.
Oh, okay.
Like, women look for protection in men. We look for validation. We look for reassurance. Mm-hmm. And if we don't feel that reassurance, that validation, it's like, how can I create a safe space for you when I don't have a safe space for myself?
Wow. That's a good point.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's really hard to do. I mean, we do it. I know a lot of people, you do it. Where you are vulnerable and you offer your heart, you offer that space, and sometimes you don't get that in return. Like, you share different things, or you're searching for it in that person, but you can't find that space in some men because they have that wall up, or because of this, that, and the other. So I think that's why, like, it's hard to do when you can't see that safe space in your partner. Wow,
I never thought about it from that angle, but that makes perfect sense, because y'all both have to create safe spaces for each other. That's teamwork.
Like, man, like, I just want peace. I want my woman to be my peace. Not,
I
want peace. We can be your peace. And then it depends on, to a man, what is peace? What does peace look like? Because some men's peace is coming home to a clean house, and food. Some men's peace is coming home to a quiet house, where, like, the wife gets the kids out the way or whatever, so he can chill, or I don't know. It depends on your marriage also. You may have the wife working or the dad stay at home. It depends on your relationship and what your peace looks like. And like, let's go back to, the communication. You guys communicating it to one another, like, hey, this is what I need from you. This is what I would like from you. And if you do these things, we're good. I feel safe with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's one of the most beautiful things ever if people can reach that stage of relationship where they know that not only is their physical body safe, but their spiritual and their mental is safe in the mind of someone else, in the hands of someone else. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing more beautiful than to have that level of intimacy.
Yeah, that is very beautiful. Now, see, I looked at it from that. I love everything you just said. I looked at it from a complete opposite point of view as to why we find it so hard. I thought about our egos getting in the way. The ego is a real thing. Huh?
A little chip on my shoulder.
Yes. Yes. Egos are a real thing, and they can be a real problem in relationships. And we have them, as women, and sometimes we let that ego get in the way. And I think it has a lot to do, as I said, with society. I feel like society puts this light around women. They call us queens. We wear the crowns with this. You are the prize. But they never say that about men. Or I shouldn't say never. They rarely say that about men being the prize and men wearing crowns and being kings. You don't hear it as much. And I think it's a bad thing because men talk about the fact that they go through so much outside of the home, their jobs, their careers, trying to manage their finances, trying to provide for their families, their own internal struggles that we know nothing about. I've dated guys that had a lot of insecurities. I didn't know about those insecurities until later on, way later, by the time we broke up. I think I think it's just time that we pay attention to men too, because men, they be going through stuff and they suppress it. They don't express it like we do. As women, we can talk to our whomever, our family, our friends. We go to therapists, but men are not that good to do that.
We're gonna hold our tongues. Look, I'm upset, and I want to let you know that I'm upset.
Right. We're okay with doing that, but men are not. And Courtney mentioned, I don't know if he mentioned that in the last podcast, but he did mention to us that
the whole vulnerability thing.
Yes.
Yeah. And how it's frowned upon being a man and being vulnerable.
Yep, absolutely.
It's the cliche of a man not supposed to cry. This is bull crap.
I hate it. But that all, in my opinion, it stems from childhood, because society perceives men as being the stronger vessel. They're strong, they can take stuff, and women, we are more, delicate, and which we are, but it doesn't, it should never take away the fact that men go through things and that they need that safe space from us as well. And it just helps to me, in my opinion, it helps build a stronger bond between a couple. They're a team.
That's bull crap, Nicole.
Wait a minute. What? A man and woman created in a safe space does not build a bond?
Not that part. The part about the women are supposed to be delicate and we are more delicate and men are supposed to be strong. And that's...
Well, I said that's how the world views it.
No, it's not. We are supposed to be strong. We can deal with a lot as far as childbirth, single parenting home, especially the Black women. So I have to agree to disagree on that one. Like, they look at us like, oh, we can take whatever.
Okay, so they look at Black women as being able to take whatever. That's what
okay. Yeah, I'll take that because we deal with a lot. I don't think we are. We are looked at as delicate creatures.
Okay.
So I disagree on that
Okay,
point, because
that's
we
fine.
do.
You can disagree with it, but I understand what you're saying. Like as Black women, yeah.
We definitely don't think we're looked as delicate. I don't think we get that softness, that, oh, you just a little flower. No, not with us. I don't see it. I don't see it.
Okay. All right. That's another point I'm gonna have to reflect on later.
You're gonna have to marinate on that one. We can agree to disagree, but I mean that's just how I feel. I don't feel like Black women are looked at as, so delicate. I don't
Okay.
think we ever were looked at as that.
Okay. Okay. So you think women, or especially Black women, are looked at on the same level as Black men, strength wise?
Strength wise, only thing I would think that's different wise with that is physical strength. Like we're delicate in that nature because there's no way possible genetically most of the time that we can physically match a man's strength. Like I might need help with putting my groceries in the house, but I don't need help raising these kids, or I don't need help. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, that emotional, I guess the emotional part of it, emotional strength. Okay. Okay. All right, girl. Okay, you got a point. Yes. And then, one more thing I wanted to add too was the way that we can make more peace, or the way we can create a safe space. And you mentioned this as accountability. So what do you mean by that when you say accountability when it comes to creating a safe space for men?
I think accountability in different situations. So if we're having an argument and I caused it, I flew off the handle, or I'm the one that initiated it, me taking accountability on the fact that I could have did things differently. I think that I've heard that before. Like, well, you don't take accountability for the things that you do. Or when I've hurt their feelings, or I've said something that I shouldn't have said, me taking that accountability, being like, you know what, I apologize, I was wrong. Because we always want the man to apologize, right?
Yeah.
We always want him to admit that what he said was wrong, or those actions was wrong. So we as women need to do that too. Because a lot of times we can flip off at the handle and we can be like, oh, this, that, and the other. And words that we say, as we all know, they have tons of power. Even though you can't physically see them and physically feel them, emotionally and internally, they're felt.
Yeah.
So I really think accountability is just important. Knowing that our actions will have an effect on our partner. Taking that accountability to step back and think about things before we act, or think about things before we talk, before we speak. Because I think we hold men like up here, you know what I'm saying? Especially when it comes to the wrong that they do. It's the simplest things, like you do laundry and I hate the way you fold, or you put my pillow on the couch the wrong way. The little things, that's how we're built. We're built on the smaller things in life. So when I say that men do a lot wrong, I mean, like, the petty things that you guys don't trip off of. But in my mind, I'm like, oh, he left the top off of the milk again.
Exactly.
So we can hold them accountable and start an argument about you leaving the top off the milk again. We got to hold ourselves accountable.
Yeah.
For the bigger things, definitely. Because men don't trip off the smaller things usually.
They sure don't. No. And we do. Absolutely. I think one of the most beautiful things a woman can do in this arena is to say, I'm sorry, I was wrong. And that goes back to egos. You know, sometimes our egos don't let us apologize, but we want the man to do all the apologizing. Like you said, we want them to take full accountability. And this is something else. I'm always talking about, well, coach told me this, but coach did tell me this too. And he helped me in this area. He told me, he said, like each time I may have said something wrong to a person, like I reacted in the wrong way. And even if it was like not that bad, he would still tell me, you gotta apologize. Oh, it was tough in the beginning because I was just like, whoa, what am I apologizing for? Because they did this to me. He said, but you said this to them. And I said, I didn't even say anything that bad. He said, but still, this is what you're going to apologize for. You need to take accountability for this part right here. He said, I don't care what he did. You are the person that's trying to grow and be a better woman. And he kept telling me, stop pointing fingers at this person. You got to take accountability for your part because you can't control what the other person says or does.
Yeah, you tell me that all the time.
Yep. Yeah.
All the time. But you're so right. You're so right. I think in life, all we can do is just be the best version of ourselves. And sometimes, most of the time, being the best version of ourselves will get us different areas in our life.
Yeah.
You know, I'm telling you, like, you know what? I'm wrong. I'm wrong. I apologize. I thought about what I said. Or even in the moment when you say things, you like, I take that back. I shouldn't have said it.
Mm-hmm.
I love you. This is how I feel. I'm upset at the moment. That accountability that creates a safe space. When you have good intentions, a good deliverance, apologizing when you need to apologize. And like I said, I think it's very, very important to do it at the heat of the moment. I've done that. Like I would say something and I'm like, you know what? That should have never came out my mouth. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I know I'm upset right now. We disagreeing, but I shouldn't have said that. That creates a safe space. So like a person that's a narcissist will be like, well, you never apologize for this, that, and the other. And they can do that if they noticed something wrong. Like, I hate that because it's been done to me, where you know you've done something wrong to somebody, but you won't admit it. And that's big because we want that validation. We want you to really feel like what you did and understand what's wrong to me. Don't just smooth it over and we go the next day or we go on the next night or the next week and I'm still hurting from a certain particular situation and it's never been addressed. If you take accountability at that moment or even later on, you know, that's important for you to recognize each other's feelings.
Yeah.
I think accountability is everything.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to a man. Like if I can sit here and be like, you did this today, you did this today, this today, this today. I can take accountability and be like, you know what? I didn't do this today. And I should have did this today. Or you know what? I said this yesterday and I shouldn't have said that. You know what I'm saying? Little stuff like that, just to know that you're important to me. Your feelings matter, your emotions matter, you matter as a whole. So if I'm hurting you any type of way, I'm sorry. I'll be better. I'm not perfect. Taking that accountability and letting that person know that my ego isn't big enough to lose you, it's a lot.
It is a lot. Yep. And piggybacking off of you, I think it's so important for us as women to, if a guy does say something that's not cool or if he's doing something and we don't like it, to speak at the right time. Because that will also help create a safer space. I thought about this account in the Bible, Abigail. I think it's the book of Samuel. Abigail, her husband was not, that's a whole nother story. He wasn't a good man, but she needed to, I can't even remember exactly what she needed to tell him, but what I do remember was she needed to speak to her husband, Nabal, about something very important. And at the time, he was having a banquet, he was partying, and he was in like just having a good time, having fun. He was in good spirits. And so she waited until the right time. She waited until the next morning to talk to him about it because she knew that it was going to be something that was not going to make him feel too good, you know? And I think that's so important. I have been guilty of saying things, as I said before, right then and there. Right when I'm feeling it, here it is, and it never comes out right. And then the next minute, a guy is going through something, he's withdrawing, his attitude shifts, and we're asking him, what's wrong? What's wrong? He doesn't want to tell us because we haven't created that safe space for him. So
I'm married on things, girl. You don't know about you.
What you say?
I'm married on things. I don't know about you.
You know,
if it's a repetitive argument or it's repetitive, like, disagreement, I've had time to think about it already. So I know how I'm going to deliver it, when I'm going to deliver it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and that's the best way to do it. You have to marinate on things first and then come to that person because your emotions are more leveled.
Right. And sometimes I won't even respond. Like I'll switch it to something else, but I heard everything that you said, like every little bit you like, I'm like, suck it in. Suck it in. So I'll come back later with them facts like A, B, C, D, you said E. Okay.
With that,
and here's my response.
But that's good that you come back later. Yeah, I have not, now I do, but my last relationship, that was like 2.5 years ago. And I did not come back later. Like I was like, this is what I'm feeling. And I'm gonna say it right now. And I probably did that with people that I went out. I don't know if I did that with people I went out with later.
But I think we all do that. I mean, we all say things at the spur of the moment. It's just, but I think it goes back to accountability also, like knowing what to say, when to say it, and how to deliver it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because we can say certain things that we can get our point across without cussing, but it'll cut real deep. And we ain't got to say not one cuss word. You know what I'm saying? Things like that.
And see, that's not good either. Even if it doesn't have a curse word in it. Like you said, it's how we say it. It's how we say it. It's the delivery that needs to be on point. And I think until we as women master that, we're going to have some real issues in our relationships. And of course, we got to have a guy to cooperate with us as well. We got to have a team.
I can't be mad and I'm like, hey, I'm sorry. What I said was wrong. And you like, I don't care you apologizing. You still said it.
But that's good. Don't take that away because that's good. Trust me when I say it's happened to me quite a few times. I've apologized. Like Coach Candace told me to apologize and I didn't get a good response. Like I didn't get an apology at all. But that's never the point. That's never the point. You gotta.
It's about us and us being the best version of ourselves that we can be.
Yes. It's about growth.
Yeah.
It's about growth. So that's what it comes down to.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, if I put my everything into it and I know I did the best I possibly can, that's all we can do. That is it. That is all. We can never control another person's response. No. We can never control another person's actions. All we can do is just be the best person that we are.
Absolutely.
And pray that the universe will give us that back every time.
Absolutely. I agree. Because I think we put all of these expectations on, I know I have put all of these expectations on men but you gotta let a guy, operate as he does, and you can choose whether or not you want to participate in that.
We have to hold ourselves accountable for our actions.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Wine, Women, in Life. If you have not clicked subscribe to our YouTube channel, please do. Click the follow on Instagram, and we do have a TikTok. Stay tuned. We will be back soon with another episode. Bye.
Bye, everybody.